Okay, so this is the second part of our lessons in voice change. In the first part, we have tried to identify, we have learned how to identify active and passive voice, and what is the structure of an active voice sentence and what is the structure of a passive voice sentence, and we have tried to understand when to use which one. Now in the second part, which is more important, we will see how to transform active voice sentences into passive voice, right? If you look at your grammar book, you will see that there are exercises where you have been asked to change active voice sentences into passive voice and passive voice sentences into active voice. Now, I would urge you to practice those exercises, if possible with the help of your parents. Now we shall see how to make those transformations, right? I have taken 3 active voice sentences and 3 passive voice sentences. The first one, John cleans the room. This is in active voice, and when you transform it into passive voice, it becomes the room is cleaned by John. The second example that I have taken is Meera has eaten the candy, and when you transform it into passive voice, the candy has been eaten by Meera. The third sentence that I have taken is a dog bit me, and when you transform it into passive voice, you get I was bitten by a dog. Right? Now let's look at them more carefully. As I said, in the structure of an active voice sentence, you have the subject. Let's look at this sentence only. So we have the subject, the grammatical subject of the sentence, who is performing the action. Then we have the action, which is the verb. And then we have the object. This is the structure of an active voice sentence. And note carefully that when we have done voice change, when we have transformed it into passive voice, when we have changed this sentence into passive voice, we have made the object of the active voice sentence the subject of the passive voice sentence. So the object here has become the subject here. And the subject here has become the object here. Not the object, the subject here has come to the end of the sentence. This is the performer. This is the performer. One who performs the action, he is less important here. He has come to the end of the sentence. We have made the object of the active voice sentence the subject of the passive voice sentence. So in order to change an active voice sentence into a passive voice sentence, you have to first identify the object and then make that object the subject of the passive voice sentence. I hope I have not confused you. I am repeating. In order to change voice, in order to transform an active voice sentence into passive voice, you have to interchange the position of the subject and the object. You have to bring the object at the front of the sentence, generally in most of the sentences, right? So you need to first identify the object. Now, how to identify object in a sentence? Right? We shall look at that. A verb which has object is called a transitive verb. And a verb which does not have a subject is called an intransitive verb. So there can be various kinds of categorization of verbs. This is one categorization depending on objects. A transitive verb has object. An intransitive verb does not have object. One or more than one object a verb can have. How to identify an object? Very easy way. Ask the verb 2 questions. What and whom? ask the verb these two questions. If these questions are answered in the sentence, that answer is the object to that verb. So I repeat, how to find, how to identify, how to know if a verb is transitive or intransitive, that is, if a verb has a subject or does not have a subject. Simply ask the verb these two questions, what and whom. Let's try it here. John cleans the room. This is the verb. Ask what? Cleans what? You have the answer, the room. So this is the object of the verb cleans. Clear? I said ask the verb questions what and whom. This is the verb cleans. Cleans what? The room is the answer. So cleans here is a transitive verb and the room is the object. Now in passive voice, you have to make this the subject then. So here the room has become the subject. The room is cleaned by John. Right. I shall also give you this example, whom. Now let's say you have a sentence. I'm writing it here. I'll erase it. Ivy teaches us English. Now teaches is the verb here. So you ask, teaches what? You get the answer, English. So this is one object. You ask, teaches whom? You get the answer, us. So this is another object. This is called the direct object. This is called the indirect object. Not strictly related to voice change, but you should know what is a direct object and what is an indirect object. The answer to the what question is the direct object. The answer to the whom question is the indirect object. So IB teaches us English. This is, here teaches, the verb teaches has two objects. It is a transitive verb and it has two objects. You get answers to both these questions, what and whom. The answer to what is English, so this is direct object. The answer to whom is us, so this is indirect object, right? So let's go back to what we were doing. This was the sentence here, right? So in the first sentence, John cleans the room. Now it is clear to you the room is object. In passive voice, we have made that object the subject here, the grammatical subject here. The room is cleaned by John. And as I told you in the first video, that in passive voice, the grammatical object is acted upon. Right? So the room is cleaned. It is being acted upon. It is cleaned. And then the performer by John. In some cases, this might be unknown. The performer might be unknown, like my phone is stolen, right? In that case, by somebody, but we do not write by somebody since it is unknown, we can omit it, we can leave it out. Here we know that who cleans the room? John cleans the room. So the room is cleaned by John. This is the passive voice of this sentence. John cleans the room. The room is cleaned by John. Let's come to the second example. Meera has eaten the candy. The candy is the object. Eaten what? Answer, the candy. So the candy is object. You have to make the object the subject here. The candy has been eaten by Meera. Right? This is the performer. Clear? So in the second sentence, the candy is the object. In passive voice, you have made it the subject. The candy has been eaten by Meera. The third sentence, a dog bit me. Once again, bit whom? Bit me. Right? So me is the object. Yeah. You have made it the subject here. In subjective case, it would be I. I was bitten by a dog. So a dog bit me. This has to become the subject in passive voice. It has become the subject in passive voice. I was bitten by a dog. So these are three examples of active voice and these are three examples of their passive voice forms. Okay. Now let me erase this part and let's focus on this part. Right? We have 3 passive voice sentences here. Now, can you tell me what is common to all these 3 sentences? Grammatically, structurally, what is common to all these 3 sentences? Look at them carefully. All of these 3 sentences have a be verb plus the past participle form of the main verb. So, be verb plus the past participle or the third form, present past participle in that chart, the third form, the past participle form. So, is cleaned, is be verb, cleaned, cleaned, the past participle form. Has been eaten, has been is be verb, eaten, eat, ate, eaten. So, the past participle form. Was bitten, be verb in past tense plus bite, bit, bitten, the past participle form of bite. So, in all these sentences, you have be verb plus past participle form of the main verb. So, in order to write sentences in passive voice, you need this be verb plus participle form, past participle form of the main verb. And as you can see, the be verb changes when you change person, number and tense. The be verb changes. Depending on these, the be verb undergoes change, the past participle form remains the same. Of course, it doesn't change. One verb has only one past participle form. What changes is the form of the be verb, right? Let me give you examples. Letters are sent to all guardians. Letters will be sent to all guardians. Letters have been sent to all guardians. Letters were being sent to all guardians. See, sent is the past participle form of send, and it has not changed. Depending on the tense, the form of the be verb has changed. This is present simple present tense. So the form of be verb here is are, because this is plural subject. This is future tense, so will be. This is present perfect tense, since the subject is plural, have been. This is past continuous tense, since the subject is plural, were being. Right? If you change the number of the subject, so if it is a letter, you have to write was being sent. So sent again remains the same, the be verb changes. Since this is singular subject, it becomes was being. So my point is, in order to write sentences in the passive voice, you need this structure, be verb plus past participle form of the main verb. And the be verb changes depending on tense, person, number. The past participle form remains the same. You can do a quick exercise in order to check whether you have understood this. I'm sorry. The problem, let's have a sentence like this. The problem dash solved by our experts. Suppose we have this sentence. The problem dash solved by our experts. So you can do a quick exercise. You can write this sentence in simple present, then in present continuous, Then in simple past, then past perfect, then in future, simple future. The exercise is to supply suitable be verb here to make the sentence simple present, past present continuous, past simple, past perfect and simple future. You can pause the video here and work out in your copy these examples, right? I'll give you the answer, and you can, after you are done, you can play the video again and check whether you have done the right thing. So for simple present, you pause the video here and work this out in your copies, and then you play the video and check whether you have done the right thing. So what are the answers? In simple present, it will be the problem is solved by our experts. Present continuous, the problem is being solved. Simple past, the problem was solved. Past perfect, the problem had been solved. Future simple, the problem will be solved. So these are the answers. Now check whether you have done it correctly. If you have, then you have understood it properly. If you have not, go back to the video and listen again. These are the answers. So once again, solved, the past participle form remains the same, and in passive voice, the be verb changes depending on the tense. Right? I think that is all that I had to say about transformation of active voice into passive voice. Now you work out the exercises that are there in your book, and I think you have been told how to contact your teachers in case you have problems. We will be happy to help you if you need further assistance. Right? Thank you. Stay safe, stay home, stay healthy.